Hi friends, I'm Dave Barklow, pastor at Fort Walton Beach First United Methodist. Welcome to the Pastor's Study, our daily devotional to help us focus our mind on the things of God. I apologize, this is getting out about an hour late today. Just had some finagling I had to get done, but I definitely wanted to go ahead and dive into chapter 8 of Mark. So I'm going to read for us this morning, chapter 8, verses 1 through 10 of the Gospel of Mark. In those days, when there was again a great crowd without anything to eat, he called his disciples and said to them, I have compassion for the crowd, because they have been with me now for 3 days and have nothing to eat. If I send them away hungry to their homes, they will faint on the way, and some of them have come from a great distance. His disciples replied, How can one feed these people with bread here in the desert? He asked them, How many loaves do you have? They said 7. Then he ordered the crowd sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves, and after giving thanks, he broke them and gave them to his disciples to distribute, and they distributed them to the crowd. They also had a few small fish, and after blessing them, he ordered that these too should be distributed. They ate and were filled. They took up the broken pieces left over, 7 baskets full. Now there are about 4,000 people, and he sent them away. And immediately he got into the boat with his disciples and went to the district of Dalmanutha. So here we have a repeat of a miracle. Jesus earlier in Matthew has done the feeding of the 5,000, and here we have the feeding of the 4,000. And it's there are a couple of things I really want to pull out here that I think are very interesting and are very important. The first is, it says that Jesus had compassion for the crowd. Jesus literally tells his disciples, we need to feed them because I'm worried about them. I have compassion for them. They haven't eaten. They've been with me 3 days, and they haven't had food to eat. And if I send them home, I'm afraid they're going to faint on the way. Jesus cares deeply about these people. Jesus has compassion for them and their needs. And that's good news, right? Too often, we don't have compassion for the crowd. We kind of are taught to take care of me and mine, and the crowd can almost be the enemy, those who are trying to take what we have, those outsiders out there. But yet we see Jesus has compassion for the crowd, for everyone. The other thing that I think is real interesting is that these people stayed with him for 3 days with no food. They are having their spiritual needs met so greatly, they're not even noticing their stomachs rumbling. That they are so hungry for Jesus and for what Jesus is teaching them that they are literally willing to fast for 3 days in the desert while listening to him, while being with him. We live in a world, friends, where our physical hunger is just not many of us that are that hungry. Now, there are some in our community and around the world for sure, but for the most part, we are able to meet our physical needs. But yet I think we're living in a world that is starving spiritually, starving for meaning, starving for purpose, starving to connect to their Creator. And we know how to do that, right? We have the spiritual food that is Jesus Christ. Another thing I find really interesting in this scripture is the disciples. And it says here, they say, how can one feed these people with bread here in the desert? Now, maybe they've forgotten the 5,000. Right? Maybe they've forgotten. Maybe this is a lack of faith on their part in their answer. Or maybe they're just setting Jesus up. Maybe they've seen Jesus provide before, and they're just asking the next logical question to this. Okay, Jesus, you're worried about them? How can we feed them? Maybe they're breaking out into huge grins, smiling at each other because they're thinking and they're whispering, he's going to do it again. He's going to provide again. Jesus is going to come through again. We don't know how the disciples said it, but I sure would like to think they were smiling. I sure like to think that they had the faith to know that Jesus had provided before and Jesus would do it again. That Jesus didn't need to prove himself again, but they got to be part of another miracle. Friends, I believe that God will provide. I believe we can be part of God's miracle and that we can trust that Jesus will do what Jesus always does. And that's take care of people because he is filled with compassion. Friends, let us be filled with compassion because you never know. Sometimes we're the ones Jesus wants to use to take care of others. Remember, friends, I love you. Take care of yourselves and shine the light of Christ.